You're listening to the Hacenda Life Podcast, the golfing edition, with your hosts, Chris and Sue.
Hey, hello everybody. How you doing? I guess it's me again and Sue. Say hello, Sue.
Hello, morning.
Yes, well, it's a Sunday morning here over in the UK, and I've overslept. So Sue and the guest, we've been sitting there for about 20 minutes, ringing me. My phone was on silent, and I'm going, oh God, I'm sure I've got to get up for something. Then my partner goes, oh, you're not meant to be having a call with Sue at 9 o'clock. And I'm like, oh bugger. So everybody, I'm a bit sleepy and a bit drowsy. But anyway, I've got my fresh black coffee ready to go. And today I'm really
We'll wake you up, don't you worry.
And I'm quite excited today because I have got HDA's own TV celebrity. And I can see her now on screen, and she's kind of smiling, but shaking her head. But she's our own little TV celebrity, and so you might have seen her on a TV program the other day on Place in the Sun Revisited. But I'm going to introduce Peggy. How are you, Peggy?
I'm very good, thank you, for a Sunday morning.
I can hear that nervous kind of like, oh my God.
I don't know what's on the way.
Oh, I do like a nervous person when they come on the podcast.
Oh dear.
We'll get all sorts out of Peggy, This is going to be good fun. No, don't you worry about it, Peggy. We're going to be, honestly, we'll treat you nice. Yeah, you've got the warm, comforting arm of Sue there.
Thank goodness. Be gentle.
So Peggy, I'm really excited about this because, like I say, it's a bit surreal because, like I say, I was only watching you 7 days ago, or just over 7 days ago, on the TV. So I'm going to dig into that, and I want to know all about that. And also, I want to hear about your golf as well, because I believe you're quite a good golfer. So we're gonna talk to you about your golf, and your history in that, and a little bit about you. So let people get to know what you're like, because from the TV program, I was only saying in the lifestyle podcast last week that I did a shout out to you, but you also not heard it yet. Where I was sitting there and I said about that Peggy, does her mother live with her? Because I think your mother was on the show as well. And Simon said no, she's on her own. And I'm like, she's on her own in the house. I said, that's huge. So I said, shout out to Peggy, because I think we need to have a few parties, get that pizza oven working, and skinny dip in the pool, because there's far too much going on. So Peggy, I'm talking far too much here. So just give us a quick, a quick intro to you. What do people need to know about you?
So I was born in the UK. My mum was born in Burma, of Scottish Burmese heritage. My father's Irish, hence the name Peggy O.T. Oh no! I always say I'm a bit of a Heinz 57. 57 varieties. So that people like that never get ill. So fingers crossed.
So did you grow up? Did you grow up in the UK then?
I did, yeah. I grew up in the UK, and then I enjoyed travelling, but I had an opportunity to go and live in Australia for a couple of years. When I got back to the UK after my little trip in Australia, I had the opportunity to live in Dubai. So I was in Dubai for about 8 years.
Sounds like a hard life so far.
I didn't do that till quite late, actually. I wish I'd done it quite young. Fantastic opportunities. But anyway, so then when I got back to the UK, it was a little bit too cold. I found the opportunity to move over here for
Whereabouts are you from in the UK, though, when you say it was cold?
Hertfordshire, Buckinghamshire.
Oh, come on! You're nearly on the English Riviera there. Just
Well, we were up in the Chiltern Hills, and actually it's surprising that there's probably about 2 to 3. I used to be, some friends of mine would play golf down in Rickmansworth, and I'd be saying where I was, I'd say, oh gosh, is the golf off? Because it was snowing where I was, God. And it was just cloudy about It's 20 minutes down the road.
It is amazing. So yesterday I was over. So I've got a place over in North Wales, on top of the hills in North Wales, and it's a beautiful spot, but it's freezing. Right, it's so cold, and even though the sky was blue and the sun was out, it's like an old converted barn, and so in the house it's freezing cold because it's big, thick, solid walls. It was warmer outside than inside, right? And so it's like, so.
Spanish houses.
And again, this morning, even through my blurry vision, having just woken up, it's blue skies again, so it does look like it's going to be a lovely day today. Okay, so where were you over in Australia? Whereabouts did you stay there?
So I had family in Melbourne.
Okay.
So I spent some time in Melbourne, and then I actually bought a little Peugeot convertible soft top, and I drove all the way down from Melbourne, around the Great Ocean Road, right up the middle to the top end, and all the way around the west coast and back down and across the Nullarbor and back.
Jeez. Well, hey, at least you didn't venture to Perth, right? Can you imagine doing that in a little Peugeot?
Well, I was over on the west coast.
Oh, you did go over there? Jeez.
About 6 months in Perth.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And what's your? I mean, I've only ever played. Shout out to Brian and Janet if they're listening, because they're over in Australia, because they live out there. They're my partner's sister and husband. He took me golfing in Perth. I'm not very good around there. I blame the fact that when you play a new course for the first time, you're not that good, because you're learning it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it struck me. It struck me that the golf, it was actually a lovely course, and of course the weather is brilliant, right? The weather is pretty much guaranteed. But what did you think of the golf out there then? Honestly.
So I really loved the golf out there, actually. But as you probably, I'm not sure where you played, but you do have to be really careful.
Yeah.
So if you hit a ball and it goes into the rough, there are often signs saying "Beware of snakes." Yeah.
Oh,
So
we got. It's amazing, because when we were playing, a whole bunch of kangaroos came along.
Oh, yes.
And they're like, are we having a standoff here? And literally they were just in the middle of the fairway looking as if to say, yeah, come on then, if you're hard enough, right?
Yeah. It's so tough. You hit that. Accidentally, you'll hit a ball. Accidentally, it'll hit a kangaroo, and they barely flinch.
I know. So I think that, from my experience, it was lovely. I love playing golf out there. I wish I could do it more. So where else have you played golf?
So I was going to say, have you heard of the Nullarbor? The Nullarbor golf course in Australia? No. So, well, the Nullarbor is the longest, straightest road, and it actually kind of connects Western Australia right the way across, almost to Victoria.
Right.
And there's a golf course that some crazy Aussies built, and it's known as the longest golf course in the world.
Crikey.
Because there's thousands and thousands of kilometres.
Don't tell me it's a par 4.
They literally will have holes just along the Nullarbor, along the route.
Wow.
So it's incredible to play that. It's but you have to be really careful, because it's very isolated. So there are lots of spiders and snakes. And,
that's the thing that I'm put off by. I don't like spiders. And that's the thing that puts me off. I don't mind snakes to some extent.
Yeah.
But you then touched on before and said that you ended up in Dubai.
Yes. So when I came back from Australia, I had about a year and a half, and again it was just too cold for me. There was one day, I'm sure we've all had it, where I had all the heating on full, all the lights on. It was 2:00 in the afternoon, and it was still kind of darkish in the house. Yeah. So I thought, and I had the opportunity. It just popped up to go and work and live in Dubai.
Real.
So how can you refuse?
Oh, no, you know what? I was only saying last week on the pod that if I could, I would get out to HDA and spend more time there, because as much as like today is lovely, and you know what, being by the sea in the UK is lovely, but it's just too cold and too expensive, and I just feel like we're getting ripped off. Our service is pretty poor, and you know what, when I come to HDA, it's lovely. It's beautiful. So I'm coming out next week. So that'll be good to catch up if you're around, and see how things go. But it'll be interesting, because I was saying to them on the other podcast, I feel a bit like Banksy, right? Because everyone wants to know what Funky Bear is, but no one knows who I am, right? Which is great. Because I can now hide behind this. Everyone thinks it's Funky Bear, and I'm like, I'll just walk around silently, and people won't even know who I am, and I'm going to get loads of content.
Until we see you, Chris, and then we'll be, hi, Funky Bear.
Anyway, so you didn't know Sue before, I take it. You over in the Middle East or anything. You didn't bump into each other.
No. It's strange that we have that connection, though.
Yeah, and did you? I mean, I'm loving to. I haven't told Sue about this, but she's going to tell me one day about playing golf on the sand, right? And taking the little green mat round with you to hit it.
Yeah.
Is that what it was like in Dubai, or did you actually have a proper course?
No, we're lucky actually. Dubai is quite lush, so that I only once had the experience of playing in Dubai, where you take your piece of grass and your greens are browns, aren't they?
No, the Dubai golf courses are top notch.
Yeah.
You'll have seen one of the professional golf TV programs recently was in Dubai, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, as good as any American or English fully green course.
But is that because there's so much money and it's all new, isn't it? Yeah. Does it feel like it's like you?
I mean, it does, but I think it's like anything. When you actually live somewhere, you get below the surface. I always say it's fantastic if you're visiting somewhere. It's lovely to actually go and stay with somebody who lives there. Because Dubai on the surface is quite bling, but when you actually get to know it's incredible. You have so many opportunities, so many free things, and so they have literary festivals, they have food festivals. I mean, you name it, there'll be a festival for it in Dubai. And it's incredibly safe. It's changed a little bit, but we used to leave all our phones and purses and keys and everything on a table. Everybody would wander off and would come back and nothing would be touched.
And did you? Was it a big expat community out there? Did you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's I when Sue was telling me about in is it Bahrain you were, Sue?
Yes.
And playing golf in the sand. I was like, well, I'm kind of familiar to that, because I always seem to find the bunkers around HDA. So I'm used to just playing in sand. It's a novelty for me to actually hit it off the fairway. And I was also going to, I've just had a bunch of Funky Bear golf balls done, which I'm going to be bringing over and giving out to people who are all going to be sort of contributing. But then I had a moment, and I thought to myself, actually, am I missing the trick here? Because when people are trying to source water, and they're trying to drill, in these hot climates, trying to find water, I thought maybe I should just go out there with my golf balls, because they seem to find water, whenever I hit them. So I thought, I could probably go out there and say, here, I've got a bunch of golf balls for you. Just let me hit them, and I'll find water. And so, that's the other thing for me. So, just fast forwarding in terms of where you lot are at the moment on HDA. What's it like? Is it because it's open now, full 18 holes, I believe. Is the irrigation finished? Yeah. Is the water kind of topped up now?
So we had, Sue will talk about the irrigation, but we had quite a rainy March. So I really think that the water table will be topped up.
Yeah.
The amount of, it's out of the ordinary, apparently.
It was, it was unbelievable. I was out there when it was, I came out for a few weeks. Half the time it was just raining. So much so that we couldn't go out anywhere. Now, in terms of your golf, though, Peggy, Some little bird tells me that you were quite a good golfer, and you got down to quite a low handicap, didn't you?
Yeah. I think I'm quite lucky because I used to play hockey to quite a high level, and a whole load of my hockey friends decided as they were getting a little bit older that they'd start playing golf, and I couldn't see the attraction of running, walking around, because I was used to running around. Yeah. So walking around after a little ball, but then all of a sudden in the summer when the hockey season finished, I had no mates.
Right.
They were all out on the golf course. So they kind of convinced me, and so it's weird when you play hockey to play golf, though, because I used to kind of aim about 90 degrees left to go straight.
Well, I bet you've got a hell of a swing on you. And can smack that ball a bit if you're coming from a hockey background.
Yeah.
You've got muscles like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can hit a ball for a short lady.
Wow.
So you sometimes. But,
so what did you get down to? Come on.
So I got down to 7.
Wow.
Yeah, but then I stopped playing, so I didn't play for probably about 8 years when I went back to the UK, because it was just too cold. It was not enjoyable.
And what are you playing off today then?
14,
get out of it. Here we go. I bet she's winning every major, Sue. She's winning every major now in that golf club. Oh no, I've not played for a couple of years. Bash.
Should be the names popping up on the boards.
Well, I've got a thing where I said to Sue a couple of weeks ago, we used to call any competition, name on the board, that's a major, right? So have you won any majors?
So yes, I used to be a member at a club I always remember when I first started golfing, the first time I was on a board, an old friend of mine said to me, "That's it now, your name is up there for perpetuity." Yeah. And I thought, that's, then you realise. So when I was at Stoke Park, I won the main competition there, which is kind of like club champion, which was kind of amazing. That was in the UK. And here, along with actually Sue's husband, Brian, we had Founders, which is probably, there are 2 major competitions of the year. And Brian won the men's Founders, and I fortunately won the men's Founders. So, but that was thanks to a lot to my playing partners, because I don't have the golf brain. I'm quite a nervous golfer, surprisingly.
Well, so that's the name of the board. That's a major. I tell you, I'm going to get everyone talking the majors, right? Everyone's going to start talking about them as being majors, Sue. And so, but like you, and my father-in-law, ex-father-in-law now, used to be a member at Royal Sanks in Deal, right? And it's a lovely course. And I remember going there and seeing his name on the board from like 1966, right? And I was in my 20s, and I thought, you know what? That's what I want to do. I want to win something that puts the name up on the board, because, that way no one can deny, right? And so I remember I achieved it, back in, I think it was 2010. 2011, I got my name on the board in my local golf club, and I kind of went, that's it now. I don't need to do anything else, right? And so I've kind of like taken a back seat and gone, I've done that, achieved that, move on to the next one. And so my golf unfortunately hasn't carried on being that good, but I really must try and do something again, get back out there. But I keep threatening. But I'm waiting for the golf course to pick up, because it's been a little bit. For me, anyway, I found it a little bit disappointing, but it's got so much potential for being such a lovely course. So hopefully we'll touch on that later, Sue. You can give us an update on the condition of where the course is. All right, Peggy. So there's a little bit about your golf. And you've got any holes in one or any other sort of?
Yes.
Oh, here we go. See, Sue.
But so there is a story behind this. So one of my oldest and dearest friends, every year on just before New Year, we always speak to wish each other. And she always says to me, okay, what's your New Year's golf resolution? And every year, you know, when you first start, it was like, okay, I want to get down to, 20. I want to get below 100. So when I got to single figures and, you do all of that, I was in Dubai and she said to me, right, what's your golf ambition for this year, your golf New Year's resolution? So I said, well, I can't really, I haven't got one now because I've done everything that I'd like to do in golf. The only thing I'd love would be a hole-in-one, but that is probably 99.9% luck.
Yeah.
And you ask, so many golfers get so close, but it's just so much down to luck. So anyway, that first competition of the year, so I think it was the 4th of January or something, I got a hole.
Wow.
This lady has the best luck ever when she's playing golf. She really has.
In anything, I always, but I do try and share my luck. Actually, I do.
So was it? How long was it though?
So it was only a par 3.
Right.
It was, so my golf club in Dubai was the Montgomery, and it was the 17th hole. And it was funny because the guys I was playing with, so it's quite a shortish par 3, and I always remember, you just remember certain things, don't you? So it was a little bit too short. So you're allowed 2 club lengths behind the actual tee boxes. Yeah. So I did my club lengths, and the guys were it was a competition, and they said, if you're too short now, we'll kill you. Of course, I got all one. Okay, we'll take all of that back.
And is it the same for women? If you get a hole-in-one, when you go back into the clubhouse, have you got to sort of put it behind the bar and go, right, everybody, drinks are on me? Yeah,
you do. Yeah.
Equal sport.
Well, I was telling Sue the one time I got my my hole in one, the bar, the club was empty. I was like, whoo.
How lucky was that?
So because mine was in a competition, but you had to find the time. It was one of those pairs things, so you had to find the time to play. So it wasn't all on one day, and so we managed to find like a Wednesday afternoon where we were both free, and so when I went to the clubhouse, it was empty. I was like, brilliant, So it was quite a cheap one, but okay, so you've done that as well.
I'll tell you, I'll just say very quickly, I always say to people, it's not if you get a hole-in-one, it's when you get a hole-in-one, because it really is, it's luck. It's an element of skill.
Excuse me. That's not what I've been telling everybody. I've been telling everybody I was drilled on for this one, thank you. Don't want you ruining it for me.
Yes, yours was obviously skill, Chris. Mine was luck.
No.
But I always say that what you should do is you should always get something, even if it's something small, like a hole-in-one pair of sunglasses, or a hole-in-one watch, or a hole-in-one. So every time you wear it, you think to yourself, oh yeah, these. So I bought a pair of sunglasses with my winnings, and every time I wear them, they're my hole-in. Just to myself, they're my hole-in-one sunnies. Or,
that's really funny, listeners. So you could just tell the difference, can't you? Treat yourself to a hole-in-one watch, or a hole-in-one car. There'll be a car next. Well, you know what I did to celebrate my hole-in-one? Do you know what I did? I got my playing partner to sign the ball, and I got one of these little. It's like a little cube, like a glass cube thing with a bit of grass inside, and it sits on there on a little plinth. Right. That's what I did to remind me of a hole-in-one. I didn't go and buy a car or a watch. Blimey, kind of. I'm different.
Yeah, that was Dubai.
You're a different level. Oh, not sure. Anyway, so
it could be a cheap little swatch or something.
Well, okay. So we're gonna come on to HJ golf in a second, but I'm just going to put something out there for you to think about. I'm not going to surprise you with it straight away, but I do ask all our guests for. We have a feature called Confessions. Right, so you've got to have to think, right, whether or not you've got either a golfing confession, right? Or I'll let you get away with where common sense fails, if you know what that is. Right, so you've got one of two things to choose from. So by the end of this interview, I want you to tell me that little story. So whilst we're chatting, you can be thinking about your confession or your common sense failure. Okay, so you've been to Dubai, you've done all this, you've got your hole in one, you've got your celebrity glasses, right? Have you still got them, by the way?
Oh yeah, every time I went there.
So
it just.
We're gonna come back on. We're gonna come back onto golf in HDA, but I want to kind of fast forward to HDA now, because let's go on your TV debut. Is this your first TV appearance?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, kind of. Yeah.
Well, because I think we have a bit of synergy between you and I, because you know the lady that was that was on the Revisited program, the blonde lady.
Danny. Oh, the lady before.
You know, the presenter. Danny.
Yes.
So I was in the same hotel as Danny a few years back. So I went to Mallorca and I stayed in this kind of newish hotel. And I was there. And you know when you see someone, you think, is that what I've seen her before, haven't I? And she was there doing her sort of prep work for a show. But I'm terrible, me, because whenever I bump into celebrity people, I'm a little bit shy. Right. And I never sort of say, because I always think to myself, they don't want to know. Right. They don't want to know. Right. You know, they kind of, I was telling a story on the last golf one about Lee Westwood and bumping into him, but I never said anything. We just looked at each other, nodded, right? And said, yeah, I know who you are, type of thing. Because I'm terrible. All these people I bump into, and I never go, oh, can I have a picture? Because I think they've got their own lives, right? They don't need some stranger saying, oh, can I have a picture? So I used to, like I say, I'm going back maybe 5 or 6 years now, where she was in the same hotel as me, and we're like, oh my God, that's the girl off, and there you go. I've now met someone who's met her. But I've only met you virtually. So you, according to I say according, it obviously did happen. You were looking at the Costa del Sol originally.
I was.
So what happened? Why did you go down there, and why did you end up at HDA?
Okay, so what happened? Originally, I was looking around Portugal because I have some friends who are around Valdelobo, but Portugal's a little bit too chilly for me, and it's really quite expensive. The properties, the level of properties that you get for the money, so I was having a bit of trouble at work. I had quite a difficult boss, and a really good friend of mine, another really good friend of mine who I've known since my 20s. She said to me, "Why are you putting up with this? You could afford to retire. Why don't you go on a place in the sun, sun, and try and find something else?" So it turned out, literally just after we spoke, she looked up, and it turned out that their office was about 10 minutes from where I lived in the UK.
Okay.
So again, this is the luck that comes into it. I went to the office, and I kind of turned up, and there were a few people standing there, as you do. And I sort of said, "Oh, I'm really sorry. Is there anybody I can speak to from a place in the sun?" And they said, "Oh, we're a place in the sun." Wow. So we got chatting, and they said, "Oh, it's So I wasn't sure where I was going to be looking in Spain originally. I have a friend in Almeria, so originally I was looking around Almeria area, and they said, "Oh, it's a shame, that you're looking around there, because we've got a vacant spot, and we need somebody around Costa del Sol." So I thought, well, I wasn't sure where I wanted to go. I knew that I wanted to golf, somewhere golfy, and. Anyway, so that's how I got on a place in the sun, and the place that they actually. So for work, sorry, I know I'm waffling a bit, but for work, at work, I haven't taken any holiday that year, and my boss had said to me, "Right, you need to go on holiday." Right. You need to take some, because it was December. So I was going to Dubai. because I volunteer at help at the big golf tournaments.
Okay.
So I was going to Dubai, and then they said, can you, before you go to Dubai, can you do the screen test? And then they said, right, we want you. So literally came back from Dubai, was back about a day, and then flew over to Costa del Sol. So, but anyway, the place that they found.
Hang on. Can I ask a question? What was involved in the screen test? Did they make you walk on? What was the screen test? What did they make you do?
Oh, so it was just Mum and I, and I guess it was just to see if you're the same kind of person, and you're okay for television. Okay. So Mum and I are quite good together, you know.
Yeah.
My mum was lovely. You've seen her; she's such an angel. And I guess that, you know, because some people I imagine would really clam up or would not be.
Yeah, they're looking for entertaining people, aren't they? They don't want someone who's going to be sitting there and being a bit dumb. Yeah. Okay, got you.
Yeah. So
Peggy's definitely entertaining.
Well, yeah. The reason I asked is I had this vision that they set up like a little beach area and they got you to walk on in your cosy or something and went, oh, can you just do a test? And you sit there in Hertfordshire in your cosy in December getting a screen test done.
I just said, no, we don't want you once if I've done that.
Okay, so then you ended up, because the thing is, everyone gets this impression that, it must be the TV company that's paying for all this, but they don't, do they? I believe. Haven't you got to sort of get yourself out there and everything else, or?
No, they paid for us to go there and paid for the hotel, but we actually paid for our food and you know, anything else that we wanted.
Right, so this is, get this right, this is an inside here now, because whenever I've watched this programme, right, I don't know if you come to the same conclusion, but the number of people that go on a place in the sun, and you just know, me and my partner sit there and go, they're not buying. And you just know that they're out there for the holiday because they'll sit there and they'll say, I've got a budget of £62,000, but I want an 8-bedroomed, 6-bathroom, big pool. And the poor girls go, well, we can't do that. You have to. And even when they find them, I've seen some when they go, it's perfect. Yeah, but you know what? The curtains are not my style. What do you mean the curtains aren't your style, right? And then they sit there and say, no, we're not going to make an offer. And we've always said, they've just wanted a free holiday out of that, right? They've just got the production company to pay for that. And so I've always thought it's people going out and getting paid for it. And now you've just confirmed they do.
Well, there was actually a TV program that was a follow-up, and I can't remember what it was called now, but they had where the public sent in questions, and one of them was that they thought, exactly as you said, that everybody goes on a place in the sun, but they don't really want to buy.
It's like a free holiday.
But no, I was genuinely looking to buy.
Well, okay, so you started off in the Costa del Sol not knowing what you wanted, but how did you decide on HDA? What got you into HDA?
Again, I do think I say it's serendipitous, when you get happy accidents.
Yeah, absolutely.
So really, when I lived in Dubai, I had a really good friend, and actually the week before I went on a place in the sun, when I was in Dubai, I was chatting with a very good friend of mine, and her housemate said, I've got a friend who lives in Spain.
Right.
So we phoned this friend in Spain, and she said, tell me a little bit about Peggy. So Danny's, not Danny from A Place in the Sun, there's Danny, my friend's housemate, said, she's a really good golfer. She's very sociable. She likes sports, so she likes paddle. She'll likes cycling, and she'll. And immediately this girl said, HDA. HDA is the place for her. It's a tough course, but it's a challenging course, but it was a lovely course, and everything. And I mean, you talk about the Place in the Sun Revisited. That was over a year and a half ago.
Right.
I'd only just moved there. So now the people in HDA, the atmosphere, the friendliness, it's incredible. I actually wouldn't swap it because, because everybody's lovely. It's real proper. Everybody will help everybody here. It's a proper
good community.
It's a great community.
And to all the people I've spoken to, that comes through and through. And like I say, when I go over, I'm mainly on my own because my partner's still working. And even when I come out on my own, I'm made to feel welcome. Right, no matter where I am, if I'm sitting in Leo's or Lockheed's now as it is, they'll always come over. And the girls there will make me feel, if I've got any questions or need to go anywhere, they'll always help me out. And bumped into Brian and Sue, that infamous night in Pam's, and and it is. It's a great community. So okay, that's good to hear because it is a great community, and I always say to people, and hence the reason why I decided to start the podcasts was just to promote it even more, because I think when I came, it sounds like a very similar time. I came in 2001 and it was dead. Right, obviously because of COVID, and I took a bit of a gamble, I guess, because I thought it's got so much potential, this place. You just need to shout about it, Chris. And so we've been trying to get this out there, and whenever I've looked around after I get there, I can't find anywhere quite like it. Sue and Brian have told me about lots of places, and I've gone to, I went to the Marmalade and everything else, and I just don't think it's as good. Right?
There isn't. I agree with you.
The golf course. Yeah. Yes, the golf course could improve. Right?
It'll come back.
And it will come back. I'm sure it will. So there are better places at the moment, to play golf. Even down La Manga is gorgeous, right? Yeah. And I don't think it'll ever be a La Manga. From that perspective, but when that golf course has got the water back on, and it's they've got those 18 holes going, and it's back to as it should be, and I just think it's a great place. So it's good to see that people are coming back. It's good to see that they're developing on it. So I look forward to meeting you when I come out. And I'm not sure I want to play a round of golf with you because I'm certainly not going to. I'm going to keep my hand in my pocket in terms of the money. I'm not going to put any money down on it. But I'm intrigued now as well. So again, everybody, if you've seen the program, her mother seems like an absolute scream, and your mother comes out occasionally, does she?
Well, so she came over that time. She came over for a month, but unfortunately, she's not been able to come over again. But that's actually the reason why I've got such a big house, because I often have people come visit. So it's kind of an open house for friends, and there's a room there for my mother as well.
Well, so. the reason I have a virtual background when you can see me on video now is because my little bear pit, as I call it, Bear Pit Studios, is an absolute mess. And so the virtual background hides it up. I'm forever getting it in the neck to tidy up in here. So I really must get around to doing that. But the reason I'm mentioning that is because your house, when I saw it, was full of boxes. And you can get away with that because you were moving, right? And so I'm sitting here and I'm going, okay, I think I heard you say, I'm going to knock this kitchen and I'm going to have a big island and I'm going to do this, that and the other. And blah, blah, blah. Now you're, a year and a half down the line. What's changed?
So all the boxes have gone. I haven't knocked the kitchen yet. It's kind of just, I think it's very Spain. I wanted to be in here a while before I made any major changes. And my life kind of changed a bit because I was supposed to be getting a digital nomad visa.
Right.
So working, and so that would have been the income I would have used to do the renovations to the house. So I've done a little bit. So I have solar panels, and I have a storeroom now, which is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I'd much rather go and play golf.
Yeah.
Than,
well, this is it. Stuff it. So when I sold the business a couple of years ago, right? And I'm sitting here and I'm going, what am I going to do now? I really must. I think I'm a little bit too young just to put my feet up. But for the last 2 years, I've put my feet up. Yeah, and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of sat there going, stuff work. But yeah, I'm joking. So this podcast again, it was another reason just to keep me busy. Was because otherwise, yeah, I kind of enjoy sort of just plodding around, and I want to get back into the golf and everything else. So no, I get it. I get where you've come from on there. But but you are sitting next to and in the presence of, right, Mr. Pizza Ordinaire, as in Brian, and Sue's little bar outside. So when you've got your own little pizza oven, I think you need to get the consultant in the room, Brian, to come out and sort of set you all up and make sure it's, because he makes a mean pizza, right? So
he does.
He does.
He does.
So I think you need to. Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. That you need to. You've got a great entertaining house. You need to get that pizza. Maybe get a bar area done. And get it done, because I'm sure Cleopatra, whatever it's called, is it called? No, Cleopatra. Is it?
Cleopatra.
How's Cleopatra settled in? Is she enjoying it?
Oh, she's loving it. She's loving it. And it's nice for me that she loves it as well, actually. Yeah.
Well, one area that Peggy has worked on since she arrived is the garden and planting. She's growing lots of things, aren't you?
Yeah. So I've got... So I'm kind of not a flower person. I like vegetables and fruits and things that you can eat. So I've got... peach tree, lime, orange, lemon. I've got raspberries, figs, strawberries. Oh gosh, what else? Oh, blueberries. Garlic,
all growing in the garden.
Ginger, lemongrass.
So that sounds great, and I think the members can benefit from it, because isn't your house facing the golf course? Aren't you on the golf course?
Yes.
So we can all sort of, when we go past, what hole is it now?
Strawberries.
we can all just go past the fence and pick a few strawberries and everything else.
Perhaps you should start a smoothie bar at the end of the garden.
What a great idea!
Chris, there'll be none left.
So, Kenna, first of all, what hole are you on?
The 19th.
Damn, I nearly got it out of her then, everybody. Obviously, we can all walk past and just give her a shout. Excellent. So, in terms of just how you've settled in now, you've been there, 2 years now?
Yeah.
And you've settled in fine?
Yeah, really, really lucky. The people genuinely are amazing here. Everybody will do anything they can do to help. We've all got different characters, but in a lovely way. Everybody accepts everybody's little quirks. Which is, we all have them.
Yeah.
So,
well, I believe you've got a couple of bad neighbours, though. That's the only downside. So I believe is Simon and Torrell your neighbours? Are they two down or something? Yeah.
They are next door.
I don't know, but that's a party house, right? They did.
Lovely. But we are really lucky.
I think so. I think, like I say, certainly in my time there, the people have been brilliant and so super helpful. So no, good. Right, I'm going to go back to this confession and this sort of common sense failure element. You must have a funny story in all of your travels. You can even make it up from Australia, because they're not going to come and get you.
Well, I'll tell you. So it's not really a confession. So when I was in Australia, I stayed in a place. I travelled around and kind of camped at certain places. Stayed with friends and everything. And I would say, I always say, I am really lucky. I do know that, and I'm very grateful for my luck. So I'll tell you just 2 stories from Australia, if that's okay.
That is, we're going to get 2. So this is a double. We're going to get 2 out of her. Go on then.
He's a dolphin.
Yes, we're going to split them into 2.
So the first story was, I was staying at a place called it's near Denham in Western Australia, and Monkey Mire is the name of the place. And what happens is dolphins come in and they feed the dolphins. So you get the opportunity to volunteer. But if you volunteer, you have to stay there a week. They don't like people just coming for a day. So I was staying there, and when I was getting into my tent, I kind of noticed that it felt that there were kind of sand mites, and I get bitten very badly. So every time I got in, I felt, oh God, I'm going to get bitten, but I didn't. Anyway, so when I was packing my tent away, I thought, right, I'm going to shake the tent really well to get rid of all the sand mites. So I got the end and, was shaking, picking up bit by bit to get rid of the sand mites. And there was a western brown snake under, and they're very, very poisonous. And it's one of the most poisonous snakes. And anyway, it was under my tent. So I kind of screamed and shouted snake. And of course, when everybody's camping, everybody hears. So all of these people ran out and they were like, snake, snake.
It was under your tent?
Anyway, yes. So the story goes that what happened is we kind of got a stick to poke it, and it wasn't moving. It was all curled up under my tent. And we got a stick to poke it, and it didn't move. So we kind of realised that it was dead. So got it on a stick and put it in a black plastic bag and dropped it at the ranger's place. So anyway, so then I went off, packed everything up and went off and was preparing the fish for the dolphins. And the next thing, this ranger came running out. Who's Snake Lady? Who's Snake Lady? So I said, that'll be me. And he went, he said, did it bite you? Did it bite you? And I said, I don't think so. He said, how long ago did you find it? So I said, about 20 minutes. He said, that's okay. He said, because you'd either be crook, which is the Australian word for very sick. He said, or dead. You'd be crook or dead. So I was like, okay. So anyway, it turns out that what had happened, this snake had gone under my tent. Yeah. And as I've got in the tent, this is how lucky I am, I've knelt on it and broken its neck. What? Which I know it sounds awful, but he said otherwise I would have been found quite a while later.
Oh my God.
Wow. So yeah.
That's definitely lucky.
Yeah. So I was.
So you're an outback killer as well. Jeez.
Well, unfortunately, I wouldn't want to kill it. I'd have walked away. But apparently, Western browns are quite aggressive. They'll kind of go for you. So yeah, it was either him or me.
Blinking.
Yeah.
I know. Stories about what's the spider that they have out in Australia?
Oh, you've got a redback.
And they sound horrendous. So no, this is why I don't think I'd like to go in the outback in Australia.
Yeah.
So all right, okay. Well, there's the first one, which you survived.
Yeah. Oh, there are lots. There are lots. So another story. My cousin said to me, he said, "Now look." When I was going off on my travels, he said, "Now look." He said, "You're going to see the most beautiful beaches you'll ever see in the world." He said, "Whatever you do not go in the water." So I'm thinking, okay, is that because of the rips? And he said, nope. I said, is that because of the jellyfish, the stingers? He went, nope. He said, it's because of the sharks. Yeah. He said, you might think there are no sharks. He said, but believe me, they are there. And they will find you. So anyway.
Where are we here again?
So this was when I was in Melbourne, but So as I was on my way back, I came all the way down, and it was right down at the very bottom bit. There's a place that it's kind of like 21 Mile Beach or something. And the sand is just so soft, it's like walking on flour.
Gosh.
So you can drive along the beach. So I drove along the beach, and I'm thinking, literally, I've got about 2-3 miles from where you the entrance, and miles and not a soul. So I thought, I'm going to get in that water. And I was on my way home. I'd been really careful all the way. So I'm ducking and diving, only up to about waist height. Next thing, I saw a shadow, and I thought, oh gosh, that's it now. I should have listened to my cousin. Anyway, it was a seal. come into play. But what you do is, because sharks go for seals, so as soon as I saw the seal, I thought, right, that's it, I'm out of here.
Wow.
I would have even tested it.
Oh, but it's so beautiful out
I know when we visited, it was been about 18 months ago when I was over in Perth, and there's an island called Rottnest or something just off, and that's beautiful. They got quokkas in there, I think they're called, and I got a selfie with a quokka. It's called. Well, you described
like
it.
Big
yeah,
rat.
they look like a big rat, but they're massive.
Yeah.
And I managed to get a funny selfie where he's literally just looking at the camera and me, right? And so I have that as a great selfie. Yeah, and I've got a funny story about the Janet running over a quokka on a bike, because there's no cars there, there's just bikes, aren't there? And so you just ride on the bike, and we were just doing a ride, and next minute this quokka did a suicide run and went and got run over by the bike and just squawked and legged it, but it was quite funny. But anyway, but yeah, so the thing is, like you say, when I'm fearful of those sharks, and I'm looking at the water going, you know what, absolutely good. It's so inviting, isn't it? You just want to get in. And then I sit there, and then you hear in the paper that someone's been bitten by a shark, thinking, no, I'm not even going to chance it. I'm not going to chance it, right? It's I'm right with. And so, it has to be an inland waterway for me. If I do that in Australia, I'm not going into the deep seas.
Then you got the crocs.
Oh, stop it.
See, I've never been interested in Australia purely for all these venomous and poisonous and horrible animals.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the coaching looks beautiful.
Well, I mean, and I don't care what you say, bless him, rest in peace. But that, what was his name? The Australian wildlife guy. Steve, is it Steve Irwin?
No, he was stung by a
stingray.
Stingray.
Steve.
His son's now
Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin. And bless him, he was a great guy who used to mess around. But if he can't survive, right? I have no chance of me. I have no idea what I'd do out there. But it's a beautiful country though. But yeah. I mean, we don't have any of those dangers over in Spain, do we?
No. In this region, we don't even have poisonous snakes, I don't think.
Oh, do we not?
No, I don't think so. No.
So no excuses. I can't blame it. Sorry?
Recession caterpillars that are poisonous to animals. So they're really spiky caterpillars that come from the pine trees.
Yeah.
And they literally do a procession from one tree to another. So you can have like 1,000 in a row
Wow.
at a certain time of year. And so you have to watch when you go across pathways. They don't touch humans, but they've got little tiny spikes on that get in your skin if you touch them. So of course pets want to go up and smell them and play with them, things like that. So you've got to avoid that area when the pets are around.
Wow. But apart from that, the only snakes that we've got, probably human snakes. These people that claim they play off 14 when they actually play off 7.
I know. There's so many of those people
they're the ones you've got to watch for. Those little snakes. Well, Peggy, it's been an absolute blast. And thanks for giving your time. I'm sorry that I was a bit late, but it's been lovely seeing you. And hopefully, when I come out next week, we'll meet in person. I need to give you the golf ball, because you've appeared on here. You are one of the first to get a Funky Bear golf ball. So
I love that.
you'll be able to smash it and lose it in the water, or put it on your mantelpiece.
I won't use it.
This week's episode has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
To get in touch, leave us a WhatsApp voice note on +44 7503 061 799. That's +44 7503 061 799. Or text us on the same number.
Brought to you by Funky Bear Productions. Follow us on our socials @Funky Bear Productions.